Welcome to Mornings with Matt, personal and professional development training that connects the art of acting with critical life skills and self-mastery. Presented by the Deering Acting Studio.
Alrighty, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Mornings with Matt. We are very, very pumped to have guest with us, Miss Saya Luke. Hello, Saya.
Hi.
So Saya is an unbelievably hard worker. She's been an actress in our program for quite a long time, and I know she's impacted a lot of people already. And I love your life mission, Saya. You really your goal is to impact this world on a grand scale using the art of acting. Is that right?
Yes, that is right. Yeah, I really am passionate about acting, and that's what I really enjoy doing. And I find the most joy out of just impacting one person, but also I want to just use that gift that I was given to impact a large amount of people. So
that's really great. So how are you going about this right now? What is your do you have a strategy? Have you written out some kind of a game plan?
yeah, I've written a loose type of like broad plan. So I'm going to do my own creation of projects. I'm going to also try my best to go to a lot of auditions and things like that. But I'm overall not going to be a part of any project that I don't believe in with my whole heart. So at one point in my life, I was just doing whatever came along. And I think that's a good thing to get experience. But I also believe that you shouldn't sacrifice your morals and also your just what you believe to be good content to get to where you want to go. So I believe that I'm going to go out and only be a part of projects that I believe are going to carry out my mission, which is to impact people.
I love that. You and I share a very similar mission. Hey, so I'm wondering here if there's a way for you to refresh or something on your side. It looks like it's getting a little choppy, the video. I'm not sure if that's possible. But if I'll just talk here for a second while Saya's doing that. So there's this concept she's talking about where she has a specific why. So that usually will change the game for people when all of a sudden you have a purpose behind why you want to be an actor. And so you think to yourself, like, I'm not doing this just for me. I'm not doing this to become famous. That's not the idea. I am actually connecting into this craft, and I'm plan on using it somehow for good, somehow to lift up others. And when your life's purpose becomes about helping other people, then it usually drives people a lot more. It's hard to stay driven when your passion or your vocation is just revolved around yourself. But we can make that about other people. I think it's a lot easier to wake up in the morning and get excited. So I think that's very cool. That's better, Saya. You're not like starting and stopping anymore, which is good. Hey, can you turn on my headphones too?
Good. Yeah, we live in the mountains, so it's kind of hard sometimes with the
Yeah, and that's what's crazy is nowadays it's like with this new technology. I know you and I have already talked about it, but all of a sudden the internet becomes so important. It's like that's a part of the quality of the performance is how much you don't buffer. I can only imagine being on like a first date and it's like, hey, hey, or not a first date. Let's say you've been dating for a while and the guy's like, he's like, I love you, and you're like, and he's like, oh, don't, you know what? Never mind. I've changed my mind. You're like, no. So Saya, how did you find acting? I want to talk about that. How did you find acting, and how did you find the studio?
So it's funny because I wasn't very interested in going into any type of performance at all. And so I was pretty much in this limbo stage of not knowing what I wanted to do next as a hobby, kind of like a time filler. That was fun for me. And I was talking with my mom, and she was like, "Why don't you try acting? Because you are so dramatic." And I said no at first. um, but then she kind of was like, "Well, why don't you just give it a try? Because I mean, you're never going to know until you try. You can't just judge something from the outside." So we searched around for somewhere to go. We didn't even know what the acting world was like, so we just looked up acting in Arizona, and you guys popped up, and we just loved what you guys stood for on the website. So we called, and Leanne answered, and we were like, okay, so we're gonna get in class. And I showed up, and I didn't want to go inside the first day, but I did. And then JL introduced me to everybody, and it was just a really good experience right off the bat, and I fell in love with the studio and also acting.
That's amazing. So it's interesting. I keep hearing this time and again where people are talking about the first day, them having a hard time getting out of the car. Why do you think that is?
I think I knew that I really had a performance, like I'm a performer, and I knew that. And I think I was scared to figure that, like I was scared to face that, I think. And I was like scared to face that part, and then what's going to come after that. I was just kind of avoiding it. And
that makes a lot of sense, because oh, sorry, go ahead.
And also new experiences. Sometimes when I'm like going into something new, it's kind of hard for me sometimes. So.
Yeah. I was going to say that makes a lot of sense with the idea of you knowing that it's right and then that being harder. I see that a lot in people and in myself, just this idea of having to face the truth. And the truth is, like, I know that this is right. I know that this is true. But then once I know it's true, I'm held accountable for it. So it's almost easier to just be blind and not know the truth because then you're not held to the same standard, you know? That's crazy. So I love talking with you. You're such a bright young woman. As you know, I've tried to recruit you many times here. But your dad just won't let you go. He's, very selfish. No, I'm just kidding. I love your dad. Love your dad. So talk to me real quick. Let's go through a few questions right away because we've got our Valleywood camp today, which we're super pumped about. But we gotta we gotta keep the show to about a half hour today. So let's get right into questions.
Okay. So my first question is, how do you, as a workaholic, not put so much pressure on yourself? So me, I am a very hard worker, and I'm known for that. And I'm a hard worker when it comes to acting and just like every single aspect of my life, whether that be exercise, eating healthy, family, just everything. I try to really go hard on everything, and sometimes I overwhelm myself with the amount of like expectation of myself I have. So I was wondering how you not put that expectation so intense that you kind of don't have like a leeway at all for like having a good time or having fun.
I see. Yeah. So, I've got a little bit of that streak in me. I got it from my dad. And it's really, there's a certain drive that certain people have where there's Joey's got it too. There's a competitive edge inside some people. And if you learn to use it for good, which you have, you learn to use yours for good, it can really benefit your life quite a bit. And you can be competitive about, like you said, eating right, and competitive about your workout routines and stuff. And that's a really good thing. So I think for our brains, for those of us who have this sort of, that we're wired this way, and I'd say even, Saya, you and I are probably closer to the extreme on the right side. I look at it this way, that the fun and the family time and having to go out and make friends, things like that, I actually look at that as part of the work. That way I can wrap my mind around it and I can justify it. So I go, okay, how does that fit into my goals and into where I'm going and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, all right, so do I really want to achieve anything without having people I love around me? No, I don't. It's not, like, what's it for? Like, there's no point in me doing anything if I've pushed everybody away. That's number one. Number two, I cannot lift up others if I'm not full. So what fills me, and time with the people I love, time with my family, time with my parents, like checking in with certain people, finding time to give, to relax. So even like, this sounds weird, but the other day I watched like 20 minutes of a movie at the studio, and everyone was like, hey, we got to read the script for Valleywood. And I was like, you know what? You guys read it. I wrote the script. You guys read it, and I'll come out and I'll read it when you're done. I know what it says. I'm like, I need this time right now. And I haven't done that at work, I don't think, for 3 years probably. But I told and it came from the show, actually. It came from somebody that I was talking to the day before, we were talking about balance, and I was like, you know what? I just want to finish this movie. Like, I just want to just watch 20 minutes of a Vince Vaughn prison film because I just feel like it, and I wanted to like see the lighting for camp and different things, but I really just wanted to watch a movie. But that was work for me. I saw it as I'm putting my mind in a good place. I'm relaxing myself so that I don't come into the meeting tense or whatever. So you want to think to it as like, that's a part of your mental health, which is a part of your long-term success.
That's really good.
Yeah,
I think that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, so it's just work, As a matter of fact, I joke with these guys all the time, and I joke, but I actually mean it. When I leave here to go home, I tell everybody, I'm like, going to work. Mm-hmm. That's what I say.
Every day.
Because to me, that's hard. It's hard to go home and be a good dad and a good husband when you're tired, and you've given so much to other people, and it's like, no, dude, you got to give even more when you go home. You have to find the strength. I even made it's funny, like now I lock the door because I want to, but I didn't. I used to get annoyed with my wife because she would lock the garage door. And like, it's the garage, like the garage is already shut, like you're good, So I'd always have like stuff in my hands, and I'd be coming into the house, and then the door would be locked, and I'd be like, oh, And so I did this thing. I went to Ace Hardware or whatever, and I got a key specifically that had a cross on it, so that when I would get annoyed and go to open the door, I'd remind myself to be like, nope, like check your ego, bro. Like, why is she doing that? She's doing that to protect herself and her kids. And you're like, all right. So that's my thought. It's like, when I go home, it's harder work. So when you're spending time with your family, or you're deciding to relax, or deciding to go out and make friends or whatever, realize that that's work, and it's a part of the process of you growing up, and you have to put in the time. And so just like everything else that you do, you can become obsessive in a good way and excited about building and furthering those relationships, and that can be a part of your work day, so you're not telling yourself, oh, I'm not working right now, and you get stressed. You go, no, this is at work too. Even sleep is that way too. Like, sleep is like, okay, I have to sleep, so like that's me committing to getting good sleep, doing it on a particular schedule. When that schedule's off, finding time to rearrange that in some way, because again, you in order to help other people at a super high level, you've got to take care of you first.
That's good. Yeah, I noticed that, like, when I spend time with people, and I put time into spending time with people, I mean, that is part of my goal, is to affect people, and I can't affect them if I'm not around them. So
right.
I noticed that to build myself up too, not only them. So
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. All right. Next question.
Okay.
I guess I could.
So I'm an optimist, and sometimes I have a hard time surrounding myself with people in my circle that are more negative thinkers. And I was wondering what advice you have for not letting their energy like rub off on you. And I know we've had conversations, Matt, before about doing the bubble and all that. And I use that every day now. But sometimes it still does like get to me a little. So I was wondering.
Me too. It gets to me too, and I try to work. I do the bubble exercise every day as well, and I should tell people what that is. I mean, basically, the bubble exercise is finding a way to love people where they are and not trying to make them something that they're not, because that's their choice, and so you can't expect them to change. But having said that, you've got to be very honest with yourself with who these people are. So if it's mom and dad and you're living in their house, there's not much you can do about that. Like that is what it is, and you're called to love your parents and to obey your parents, so you do that. Like that's gonna be the way it is. But if it's anybody else, you've actually got to do the work to go through and say, is this person actually helping my life, or are they dragging it down? And I got to be cautious of how much time I spend with them. And then I also, Saya, I think every now and then it's okay to just be honest as long as you're saying it from a loving place. So like I remember I said to I think it was my mom one time or my sister or somebody, they I was feeling very fit, and they used to make these comments where when I'd work out and do things, and they'd be like, hey, you're looking a little skinny there, and like basically comments like that. And what's weird is I would find myself, as soon as that happened, my habits would change. Like they really had a big impact on my mind. And so one time it happened, and I just told them the truth, but I wasn't mad about it. If I was mad, it wouldn't have turned out well. But since I wasn't mad, I was like, hey, you know what? When you guys are doing things and they're your choices, and you're doing things to try to better yourself or not. I mean, either way, I'm not sitting here talking about your weight or talking about how you look. So just so you know, this is my attempt to try to better myself, and I feel good. I feel healthy. I feel vibrant. I feel like I got a lot of energy. And when you say that, it knocks me down. And so I just wanted you to know that's the impact that it has on me. And the last couple of times, it's sent me into a pattern of, maybe back then I was drinking, so I'd be like a pattern of drinking beer again, or a pattern of eating late at night. And so I love you. I care about you. Obviously, you have an effect on me. So just if you wouldn't mind, be careful about those types of comments around me. And that was it. And I kind of empowered them to know that I do respect them, and that their opinion matters, and that hopefully they can be careful with what they say around me, so that they're trying to lift me up the same way I'm trying to lift them up. But it's got to come from love. That's the hardest part, because when you react with anger and you react with like being reactive, that's when you carry a bunch of stuff. Or if you react internally even, but you don't say it out loud, then again, you're carrying all that, and it can weigh you down.
Yeah, and it's not even like negativity towards me in particular. It's just like more of them being like in their own world of negativity,
Mm-hmm.
and I see that, and it like affects my mood, because I'm a very positive person usually, and it's hard to see someone that's not feeling the same way.
Right.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and I imagine that you'd want to talk about specifics offline, and I'm happy to do that with you, because it almost depends on per scenario. But if we broke down a particular person and when it all happened, we could probably find a way for you to protect yourself better and build the bubble up better. And then it takes like one comment to avoid that thing, whatever it is. So let's just say there's something controversial about a celebrity or a politician or something on the news, and everybody's talking about what so and so did or whatever, and it's like this thing, but that thing is causing a bunch of negativity, and it's causing everyone to just gossip and whatnot. Usually when that comes up and they're trying to say things like that around me, what I do is I just say, hey guys, I don't know about that. You know, I'm not them. I'm not living in that space. I prefer not to talk about it. Just so you know. And then that's it. And it kind of like they get like, ugh, like, but then it's over and I don't have to deal with it the next time. So that time it's usually awkward, but the time after that, they know, hey, that's not the kind of stuff Matt likes to talk about.
Yeah.
So it's really about, it's almost like if you think about a good improv scene, it's like frame them. If you love people, frame them. Give them the exact framing and go, here's the space I live in. Like, let's talk here. We can be successful here in this space. In this other space, you know, you're not gonna get the reaction you want out of me. You know, I'm not gonna jump on with everybody else and be negative. I'm not gonna gossip about somebody I don't know, or you know, I'm not living in their shoes. So I'm just not gonna do that. So to get the reaction you're looking for, which is some kind of a response, this is kind of where I live over here.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that completely. Thank you.
We got a couple minutes
the
left.
Next question.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
All right, last question. Here we go.
Okay. So this is an acting specific question. So when you're in an audition, do you slate in character or as yourself? So in my career, I plan on auditioning for things that are more, you know, out there, like characters that are more different and unique. So some of those characters would be kind of interesting to walk in as that character. And then, so I was wondering because I personally feel like if I was to show them who I am first and then show them the character, that would be a good thing. But also at the same time, I'm like, what if that first initial meeting of me with the slate would off-turn them from wanting to see, you know, oh, she's really positive, she's really happy. Or even if I'm not really positive and happy at the moment, but I'm just showing myself.
Yeah.
And then they automatically don't see me as the role anymore. So I was just wondering which one is better.
Yeah, that's a great question. So to reframe the question here, it's when you're slating as a character and you're coming in, and let's say we're doing a movie role or something, and the character is very different than who you are. Do you slate as you, as a, you know, smiley, hey, it's me, or do you slate as the character? Now, obviously either way, you say your own name, right? You would never say the character's name. So my thought on this is you sort of both. So what I would say is I tend to lean toward the character, but I don't go all the way there. So for instance, let's say I'm playing a bad guy, and I might do something like hi, my name is Matthew Deering with Leighton Agency. And then I'd go into bad guy from there. So I wasn't like bad yet. I like didn't even come close to my character, but I wasn't here either. Because I think that big flip can be also jarring for people. I'd love for them to get to see my sweet side when they call me in for callbacks and we're sitting across the table and they say, hey, what do you think about the script? And I go, dude, your script is awesome. And they get to see that kind of vibe from me. That's when I prefer to like show that side. But even for myself as the actor, it's easier for me. And I think just better in general, because you're not going from A to Z in 2 seconds, which can come across very fake. So I would just sort of lean in one direction or the other, but I don't think you need to go all the way into your character. There still can be a bit of a transition. So as the bad guy, for instance, I could still smile like I did a second ago. It's just a different type of smile. So they can still see that I'm capable, but I'm not going like super commercially happy energy, because that's not what we're trying to do. So maybe that's a better answer to your question, is bring the energy of the character.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because I know that, you know, I know that it's also difficult on yourself if you're like all of a sudden really smiley and then you have to play this like dark, suspicious person or something, and it's just hard to make that flip too for yourself. So
Yeah.
I think that's a really good tactic.
Cool. All right, Saya. Well, we've got to go make a movie ourselves. Actually, we're about to make a movie called The Missing Cell Phone.
Bum, bum, bum.
It's gonna be amazing.
What is it about?
It's about the missing cell phone.
It's about a cell phone that goes missing, and it's a film noir.
You ever
movie.
heard of it?
It's gonna be a missing cell phone. See,
There's gonna be maybe multiple missing.
and there's gonna be kids. There's gonna be teens. There's gonna be people here. They're gonna be making a movie.
There's gonna be a cell phone bucket that all the cell phones go into.
Yeah, we're kind of making fun of our own cell phone bucket here.
It's really fun to poke fun at yourself
Yeah.
because who else are you gonna poke fun at?
I don't know, Saya. Maybe we could do that.
Nah.
It's not. It's not as fun. Yeah,
What can you make fun of about Saya?
I know. There's nothing. Look at her. She's a perfectionist. All right, Saya. We love you. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, can't wait to see you in class in person. It's gonna be great.
Next week.
Me too.
All right.
Okay, love you guys.
You too. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Mornings with Matt. We sure appreciate you tuning in. Please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. It helps us put out this light-driven content to the world. Thank you. God bless.
You can follow Saya on Instagram at Saya_Luke and on YouTube at Saya_Luke. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Mornings with Matt. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Deering Acting Studio to keep up with the latest content. For more information on classes, private lessons, or professional development coaching, visit www.deeringstudio.com. Have a Deering day, everyone.